Hey, it's Andrew Downs. I'm proud to support Three Beards Media, and I would love to work with you. If you need merchandise for your company, organization, band, softball team, whatever, I can help. From name brand apparel to promotional items, large orders or small, online stores, and more, I can help your brand stand out. AKC Marketing is local, based in Johnston, and we are an employee-owned business, so our costs are low and our turnaround times are fast. But most importantly, we give you personal service to make sure you get exactly what you're looking for. Email me at andrew@akcmarketing.com or find me on social media and let's make some cool stuff together. Now sit back and enjoy this Three Beards Media podcast.
Welcome into the Instant Reaction podcast, and Drew, offense is back in Iowa City. Let's go. 34 points in the second half. Absolute rout. What a show by Tim Lester and the boys in the second half. Let's go, baby.
Is that like kind of like backhanded compliment? I'm not sure.
No, it's not. That was awesome. It took them a half to settle in. That was good stuff. That was good, absolute great stuff in the second half. That was awesome.
I mean, let's be honest, Andrew. Player of the game, Caleb Johnson?
Or no, Reese Vanderzee. It's got to be Reese Vanderzee, the freshman.
Reese Vanderzee did play the whole damn game.
Yeah.
One of two true freshmen on the entire squad. Is that right? Is that what I read?
One of true freshmen that maybe started today, I think.
Yeah, I don't recall his name being anywhere in our podcast leading up to this season.
I think we briefly mentioned him. When
okay, well, we need to mention him more because
we sure do.
Dude is open.
He is always open. 6'5", around 210, I believe. And that second touchdown catch, that was really good stuff. He just snatched it from the defender and said, "That's mine." That was great. Jacob Gill. So all the new Iowa wide receivers getting touchdown catches. 3 touchdown catches by Iowa wide receivers in one game. We had 3 all of last year, Drew.
Yeah, Cade McNamara, 21 of 31, 251, and 3 tutties. Like, who would have predicted that after the first half?
No, absolutely not. That third quarter, he was on fire. 10 of 11 and like 125 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns in the third quarter.
There was no need to panic, Andrew. When we were texting offline here,
I was.
You wanted to see Sullivan.
I did, because Sullivan had at times outplayed Cade, and Cade looked skittish, like I talked about. In that first half, he was throwing off his back foot. Things weren't looking good.
What did I say in our pregame episode, though? What did I say?
Well, you said a lot. You said a lot of things.
I did say a lot of things, including F words and whatnot. But let me explain it this way: the offense in the first half was not Cade McNamara's fault. It just wasn't. The protection was pretty shaky. Couldn't run the ball. I mean, Kamari Moulton overall had a decent day. 19 rushes. What was it? 65 yards. I mean, the explosiveness came from Caleb Johnson in the second half after his first half suspension there. Plain and simple in the running game. And when you can run the ball, you can throw the ball. Cade McNamara was electric in the second half because of Caleb Johnson's ability to run the football. Plain and simple.
Well, and we made halftime adjustments. Our offense,
There's something called a halftime adjustments. You're
yeah,
right.
Tim Lester believes in this little thing called making adjustments during the game.
Shut
it's-
up, stop it. Now you're just like blowing us up to like blow out Iowa State 31-3 next week, and it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
It is actually, but it's fine. It's okay. Yeah, no, I mean that there is something to be said for that, right? I think there was adjustments made. Obviously, otherwise we would have just seen more of the same in the second half.
You don't think it was just a talent difference? You don't think by mistake that the depth chart come Monday was Kamari Moulton was the number one guy? They already knew they were suspended, but they didn't say that. And we had this conversation pregame, Andrew, with how betting works in the college game, and you came back with it that the Big Ten is more transparent than any conference. That's what you said.
Yeah, but it's not enough, but it's more transparent than anyone else so far.
Iowa has never been transparent about their injuries or suspensions or nothing, man. Like, it's just how I feel about it.
No. And I guess with the rules being the way they are, basically everybody else does the same thing.
Doing the bare minimum. Sure. Yeah. I wouldn't show it if I didn't have to either. But when you're messing with people's money and people's livelihoods, like when I say livelihoods, I'm talking like professional bettors, right? Like, I'm not talking about like little piddly $10 bet that I lost because we hit the under, right? And which is funny because I booked it at 41.5. My bartender at Cleveland Park in Northwest DC booked it at 39.5. So we both lost because he bet the under at 39.5. I bet the over at 41.5. Landed on 40. We both lost.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and you know what? That's why Vegas always wins. That's why they always win. They know everything.
Holy
you know what
crap.
I mean? Like, so that being said, 40-0 shutout, electric performance from the defense. Aaron Graves, did I not mention him in the preseason? The pre-episode of this game. It's time for him to show up. I think he showed up.
He did.
Three sacks on the game. He only had 3 in his career, I believe, until that point.
Yeah, 3.5 or 4, I can't remember. But yeah, he basically doubled his career total in one game.
No issues with the defense, and we can move forward.
No,
right?
No,
like, that was electric defense.
I just wanted to highlight someone else on the defensive line. Brian Allen got a sack today and got some good pressure. We wanted to see someone step up and bring pressure, and that was Aaron Graves for the most part, but Brian Allen was able to get pressure a couple times as well. And I believe Ethan Herkett got some good pressures going too. So our defensive ends, while they maybe didn't light it up from a sack standpoint, they did get pressure. So that was good to see. Jamari Harris made a play on a pick. That was good. Caden Weechin had a nice return that got called back on a penalty, rightfully so. But
that was a phantom block in the back, like that was clear as day.
Yeah, it was a block in the back, and but it was a nice return nonetheless. So it's good to know that the punt return game is in decent hands as well. Because that was
question. That possession resulted in the second field goal in the first half. Is that right? I believe that was the case. Yeah,
I believe so.
Which is unfortunate, for a guy that missed the over by 1.5 points. So
yeah, and so we're talking a lot about the second half, but in the first half, while we did only get 2 field goals, the defense once again in that first half and the special teams put the Iowa offense in good spots, and they didn't capitalize. And then they made adjustments and capitalized in the second half. So I think that's just the key for Iowa every game from here on out is getting off to a better start, and you have a defense and special teams that are going to put you in good situations. And the second half was real complementary football. Like we talk about complementary football Well, that's what the second half was. That's real complimentary football. Your defense is still doing its job, but the offense is taking care of business too, and it allows the defense to just pin their ears back, and that's how you get a shutout.
Nearly 500 yards of total offense. Andrew, when's the last time we've done that against anybody? Like I don't even know who. I don't even care who we play. When's the last time we had 492 yards of total offense?
Yeah, I think the last time we came close to that was 2019. Actually,
was that the at Maryland game?
I am looking up 2019. I think it was one of the non-conference games. I could be wrong.
492 yards of total offense, 23 first downs, almost 35 minutes of time and possession. Exactly what you wanted, Andrew. It's exactly what you wanted.
Yeah, and what were we on third down? I'm looking up what we were on third down as far as efficiency. 7 for 15, so we were like 29% on third down for the year last year. So we were right a shade under 50 today.
Well, and the thing about third down, Andrew, is it was third and less than 5 most of the time.
Yeah.
It was convertible third downs, which is huge. Like
that is huge. You're right.
You know, that 29% that you said did you say 29%? Is that what we were?
We were 29% on third down conversions last year, man.
Well, mainly because it was 3rd and 10 and longer, and there's not plays for 3rd and 10 to convert first downs. I mean, there is, but not for Iowa offense.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, predictable, you're throwing the ball, right? Or you're running a quarterback draw for 7 yards, you punt the ball. I mean, by and large, Andrew, like, what's there to complain about, I guess? The first half? The first half was terrible.
The first half was terrible, and we were doing the thing where we were running into 9-man fronts. And then I don't know what changed necessarily in that second half, but we decided to open it up with the passing game a little bit more.
I mean, I'm still saying Caleb Johnson, but that's just me. I mean, 11 rushes over 100 yards.
Yeah, I think. But we were kind of just banging our heads against the wall in the first half, though, I felt like. And there were makeable plays to be made, and Cade was missing guys. And I think that's really just the difference, was Cade was making the makeables in the second half. I think that's all it is, all it comes down to. And hopefully he's just more ready to go from the jump for every game for the rest of this year. And
did you expect Sullivan to show up in the second half?
No, but I wanted it. But
I felt like you did, at least offline.
I wanted it. But
this man said, "Never mind." About a half hour later to me.
About half hour later, said, "Never mind, we're good." Man, I don't know if it was Miami of Ohio. I'll have to look up. We'll have to get back to it next week when we do our preview for next week. But I think I read somewhere it's the highest output for the Iowa offense since 2019.
It has to be.
Yeah, and
I mean, you put Reese Vanderzee in the slot alongside Caleb Brown next week.
Yeah, and Seth Anderson, who played well last year at times.
What was the deal with Seth Anderson? I never did get
an injury. I don't know what kind of injury.
Again, why did we not know that until an hour from kick?
Yeah, well, there's another thing that we can take away is do we feel good about our depth at wide receiver now? We feel like we have 3 guys, right? With Caleb Brown, Vanderzee, Gill, and Weetjen is kind of our 4th.
Weetjen's explosive. I'm good with that. You get the ball in space. I mean, yeah, 100%.
And Lachey made some good plays and
several catches, 67 yards, I think I saw maybe.
Yeah. What did he have? Let's get it right here.
We should get it right.
6 catches for 63 yards. That's a good day.
Yeah.
Zach Ortworth made a nice play on that Cade McNamara scramble. That was a nice catch, over the head catch. Ostrenga had a couple catches, so all 3 tight ends got a little bit of action there. Jacob Gill got the big 31-yard touchdown. Reese Vanderzee with the
that was underthrown. He came back to it and then walked in. That one,
right. Yeah.
Look,
you feel
listen,
good.
I'm nitpicking here at a 40-0 win, right?
Yeah.
I'm nitpicking at things. That was clearly an underthrown ball that just made the right play. He went and got the ball and he took it to the freaking house. So I mean,
Yeah.
plays were made. So
Sweet.
yeah.
Quick look ahead to next week. We're not going to get too in depth, but quick look ahead. Rough news for Iowa State.
What happened?
Starting linebacker Caleb Bacon down, not putting much weight on his left leg. His status up in the air. They were already depleted at the linebacker spot. And there goes their probably their most talented linebacker for sure. Maybe one of their most talented defenders.
And North Dakota is in the was in the red zone and then intercepted at the 5-yard line. So still 7-0 Iowa State.
Yeah. Iowa State down a couple of offensive line starters, surprisingly, as well. Who knows when they will be back? So there's some injury stuff for Iowa State next week that will impact the game.
I'm not concerned about the defense. Let's put it that way. I mean, it's Jekyll and Hyde offense that we got to figure out.
Yes.
I mean, playing Iowa State's going to take a 4-quarter effort like the second half tonight.
But now, based off Iowa's performance, they have a little bit of something to worry about on defense. They have to figure out how are we going to guard Vanderzee? How are we going to guard Lachey? How are we going to guard Caleb Brown when all three of those guys are out there running around? And then how are we going to stop the running game too?
When's the last time we had a receiver with more than one touchdown in a game is probably a better question.
It's been a while, man. It's been years. It's probably been back to the Stanley days.
I was thinking closer to McNutt, but
yeah, maybe. I don't know. That's a good question. I know
we gotta start looking this stuff up because there ain't no way an Iowa wide receiver, tight ends, yeah. Sam Lachey or Luke Lachey. I'm sorry, I was thinking Sam Laporta. Anyway, Luke Lachey, I'm sure has multi-touchdown games somewhere down the line, but a wide receiver, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, it's definitely a glass half full kind of day for 40-0 win. You know, like what else can you say about it?
Yeah.
Everybody else did their job. They didn't do anything electric. They just stopped them every fucking drive.
Oh, our last big offensive output was 2019 against Middle Tennessee. We won 48-3.
Yeah, we throw more than one wide receiver touchdown.
We did.
Oh,
we did.
To who?
2 to Brandon Smith from Nate Stanley.
Brandon Smith.
18-yard and a 10-yarder.
I'll be damned. There we go. Live statistics from Andrew Barber. Look out.
Let's go. Spencer Petras ran a touchdown in. Brady Ross ran a touchdown in. Mekhi Sargent and ISM
Did you say Spencer Petras ran it in, but then you said Nate Stanley threw him?
Yeah. Spencer Petras came in with 47 seconds left to run in the last touchdown. We had 644 total yards that day.
Oh, well, that's a day.
We did. We had
the Blue Raiders had a tough go in 2019, folks.
Yep, we had 276 yards from Stanley, and then we put up a lot on the ground. Torrin Young had 131 yards. Mekhi had 91. Tyler Goodson had 97. We had almost 3 running backs run for 100 yards in the same game.
Talk about an underappreciated running back for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Torrin Young was my favorite running back of that stable, if I'm being honest. I thought he was violent. I thought he could run between the tackles, but I also thought that he can bounce it outside. I thought he was a versatile back. He could catch it. Like Tyler Goodson wasn't like fully rounded yet.
I like the vision of Mekhi Sargent, man. I felt like Mekhi Sargent should have had a lot more work than what he did.
I tell you what, he could pound the hole with those dive calls. I'll tell you that. Like he enters the hole so fast.
That's what I like.
Or I mean, he did.
Yeah, I like those one cut runners.
I thought Torrin Young had the best eyes of them all, but that's just me.
But I mean, I like the way we're setting up on offense now with Caleb Johnson doing what he did today.
That was clearly a response from the suspension in the first half, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, did he get touched on that? What was that? 68-yard
61, 62-yard. Yeah, he did. He had really good balance on that run.
Yeah.
That was good stuff. So I feel good. I feel like we got a lot of actual usability, a lot of guys that we can go to, a lot of different situations.
Here's my question: Is Dolph going to get Kirk Ferentz on the phone on the post game?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Because I mean, usually Dolph gets Kirk there, so I'm curious as if maybe he calls in and gives 5 cents or whatever.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm not sure. What was I going to say? Seth Wallace getting his first win technically as acting head coach, so
he's on the Sherrone Moore train, man. He's going to get a head coaching job.
Yeah, he probably is. Just looking at the tackle numbers, the defense wasn't on the field enough for anybody to have double-digit tackles today.
True.
Jay Higgins led us with 7 total tackles, then Nick Jackson with 5. Graves with 4. 3 of those were sacks.
That's crazy.
I mean,
he was a menace. He was an absolute menace.
Yeah, I think our linebackers are going to have lower tackle numbers than they had last year, but that's a good thing because they don't need them. Tackles more tackles for loss. More tackles for loss, more sacks, and less time on the field. So that's good.
That's true.
Perfect. So
listen, I don't want to say national championship here, right? Because let's reel it in a little bit. It was an inferior opponent in Illinois State, and I gave him more credit than it turns out that I should have. Other than the first half, I mean, the first half they played inspired. They played great complementary football. I mean, they couldn't move the ball on the Iowa defense, but who the fuck can? Ohio State? Okay.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's who.
So, I mean, yeah, that first half was troubling. It was really hard to watch, to be honest with you, especially at a watch party. Had a hard time watching the first half.
Yeah.
Nothing going on except the return punt for a touchdown that got called back.
Right. A good showing compared to some of our Big Ten counterparts in their season openers. Compare this to the Minnesota, the Michigan State, or the Wisconsin season opener. I think Iowa's having a much significantly better showing, regardless of competition level. I think we feel better about Iowa after watching this game and not as good about those other teams.
I mean, after 60 minutes, Andrew, I can't disagree with you.
Right.
Going to have to clean some stuff up in the first half. I don't know if play calling, talent on the field. Like, I don't know what did you see in the first half that was the problem? Let's dig deeper and look into that. What did you see as the problem in the first half?
I really just think there was maybe a little bit of that jitters, I think, from Cade. Cade was on his back foot a lot in the first half. When he was throwing, I noticed that he was throwing off of his back foot.
Sometimes he had to be, though.
Sometimes he had to be, but we weren't running like in second half, like we ran like some quick passing plays, some RPO stuff, and it was just get the ball to Lachey and Vander Zee quick, and then let Lachey run. And that's all you need to do is you need quick passing concepts, and that can open up the run a little bit. I think that's exactly what it was. And I think we were just running a lot, too much inside running for me in the first half. I thought maybe getting Moulton on the edges was going to be the game plan early and often. And then Caleb Johnson, when he came in the game too, that's what Caleb Johnson did, right? Is he got out on the outside where he can show off his speed, and that what I saw as kind of the problem was we were really trying to pound inside and
pound the ball with space makers.
Right.
So a lot of the Brian Ferentz offense in the first half.
Yeah, and I think we were just trying to like do this thing where it was like we need to just win the game and not show too much, put too much on tape for anybody else. I think we were just trying to do this really vanilla, take no risks kind of thing. Just like, oh, we don't need to unleash things yet. And I still don't feel like we've seen the full playbook. But some of that is just like the personnel. Like you said, the personnel matters.
Let me ask you this, Andrew.
Yeah.
I feel like people put too many eggs in the basket with the narrative that, well, you can't show too much.
Right.
You can't show too much early. You know, we're going to run vanilla offense. We're going to run standard defense. What does that even fucking mean, Andrew? Because here's the thing is play calls are one play at a time.
Right.
Sure, you ran this play and it was successful against Illinois State on the 34th play of offense and the first possession of the second half or some shit. But, like, you don't know when they're going to call that play.
Right.
I feel like people put too many eggs in the basket on the narrative that, oh, you're going to show too much. Don't show too much. We're not playing we're playing an inferior opponent. Do what it takes to win and move on. Like, I don't like that narrative at all, if I'm being honest. Like,
no, I don't.
Because literally, like, how many plays on offense on average does a college football team run in a college football game? 70, 75?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
70 to 80. Let's just call 70 to 80.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
So you're saying the one time that you run a play, 1 out of 80, right? Like, oh, well, we showed too much. Like,
yeah, I don't.
When are you going to predict that? Like, I don't buy that narrative at all, Andrew. I hate the whole vanilla defense, not show too much on offense. I hate the narrative, honestly. Like, that's my nickel there.
That's been the philosophy, though, unfortunately.
I know it is, and it is for every team. But
yeah, I hate it too. I think you go for it, man.
I mean, what are the odds that the defense is going to play the right defense on the 1 out of 80 times you're going to run that fucking play?
And
just do the math. Like,
and if you
okay, it blew up. What do you fucking do? Did you turn the ball over? K. McNamara didn't turn the ball over today. In fact, 0 turnovers. Exactly what I wanted to see. 0 turnover football. That's what I wanted to see.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you know, there's counters to every play, and there's the ability to audible. And as long as you have the freedom to do that, which you should, with Cade McNamara calling the plays, you should have the freedom to audible to whatever he wants, whenever he wants.
Did you see a lot of that today? Honestly, I didn't see a lot. I didn't see a lot of pre-snap movement today.
No, I didn't see too much. I saw a few times like the motion. They would motion like Lachey. They would quick motion Lachey out, and then he would go forward right as the ball was getting snapped. And that's definitely a Shanahan thing. Motioning your tight end out of the tight end spot and shifting him to more of the slot spot.
Very George Kittle like.
Yeah, and then doing some things where you like have your wide receivers start out or your running back start out wide, then shift them into the backfield and all those kinds of things. You're really just trying to figure out if you're facing a man defense or a zone defense, and you're just trying to figure out what type of zone it might be based off of that. You're trying to figure out, you know, is this cover 2, 3, 4, that kind of thing, or is it more of just like a man defense? Or so I don't think we've seen a lot of the motion stuff, but I think we're going to see some more of that motion stuff. And I think early in the game, like in the first half, Illinois State was like run blitzing the heck out of us. And so then we realized quick passing concepts on the outside is going to defeat that kind of run blitzing philosophy all day. So
which is funny, right, Andrew? Because we can do that against Illinois State, but are we going to be able to do that against Washington? Are we going to be able to do that against
remains to be seen.
Ohio State?
Yeah.
Right, because we've beat up the offense for over a decade about those play calls and like wide receiver screens and end arounds and all that bullshit that we ran for like -3 yards every freaking time that we called it, right? But they 9 times out of 10 they were positive yardage today.
Yeah, we didn't run really any wide receiver screens today.
I don't think we did a wide receiver screen today, but we did do an end around or a.
Yeah, we did a little end around.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we could have done more of that because that kind of slows down the run blitz or like a screen to a running back or a tight end or something like that, just to slow down a blitz.
True. That's true.
That's something that maybe we'll have in our back pocket, but who knows? All in all, good performance, man. Good performance.
40-0. How do you beat up on that, you know?
Yeah. And what I want to say is this is just like the starting point for the offense too, right? The offense is by no means a finished product. Yeah. They're going to improve as the season goes along from here as they kind of adapt to Tim Lester and what he wants. This is just week 1. I think first half was some of that just growing pains of trying to figure out things. You know, and I think as the season goes on, they're just going to figure it out more and more, and it'll get better.
I can't wait till next week, Andrew. We play a Division I Power 4 team
with a good defense.
I want to see what the defense stacks up like against a team that can score, a team that has a decent offense. Because Illinois State was not that,
and I want to see the opposite. How does an offense stack up against a team with a notoriously pretty good defense?
I'm so pumped. I'm going to take the under after today's.
Yeah, I mean probably the under. Yeah, heard Iowa State might play some 4-3 more this year than they have in the past, which is interesting because we played 3-4 against a lot of 3-4 today from Illinois State. And Iowa State's going to play a little bit more 4-3 than I have in the past.
I mean, go ahead and play 4-3 and let Vander Zee, Caleb Brown, Luke Lachey,
right?
Let them carve them up in the frickin' zone defense.
Well, I don't know if it'll be 4-3 because they have a little bit of their own hybrid.
Yeah, they do like a 4-2-5 or some shit, right?
Like us.
Yeah.
We do that. So they'll probably have that too, but I guess what I'm trying to say is they're going to play 4 down linemen on defense more than we're used to seeing, I think.
Okay.
So that might be something newer from Iowa State than what we're commonly used to seeing.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be a good season. Thank you to all of our sponsors real quick. Revelton, Kyle Layman, Green Beret, AKC, you're all great. We love you all. We will be back we'll figure it out. We'll be back. We'll be back next week.
Maybe Tuesday.
Maybe a special Tuesday edition of Hawk's Eye View.
Let's hit up the side of the storm and figure it out.
Okay. Maybe a joint episode with Side of the Storm. Who knows? Could be a lot of fun. Could be a miserable time too. I'm just kidding. It'll be a lot of fun. Those guys are great. But as always, good to start off the season with a win and be 1-0. And as always, go Hawks, baby.
Go Hawks, baby.